You know, some people, they call it enlightenment, awakening. Some people call it a rejigging of the brain, some a reformulation of mind, a reset button pressed. Psychologists call it the bucket of water overflowing, um, and you're unable to stop the explosion. Some people call it religious, a call from some superior being, whether it's a spirit, a higher self, a God, a consciousness, whatever. And you'll never know, you see. That's the thing that you learn. You'll never know what took place. And you'll never know anything about what is taking place. And it's okay for minds to try and calculate and analyze and research into how this is here, where it started, what purpose does the universe have, what is consciousness, is there really a God? You'll never know, you see. And that's the blessed revelation that remains with you. It's blessed because you don't have to try and work it out. You just have to live it out. That's a beautiful quote. Never realized I could say things like that. 30 years ago. Never envisaged a conversation like this. A single-minded discussion with myself. It's not crazy. I'm not talking crazy. I'm not talking, I am the Messiah. The voices in my head, the thoughts, everything is the same as it was before. This explosion of a voice that it wasn't really a voice. Because what takes place, regardless of what you call it, enlightenment, brain, mind, reset, chemical restoration in the brain, neurological functioning, anything, science is close, religion is close, we're all close. But we're not that close, you see. And what actually the revelation is that even your senses, your 5 senses, what really takes place in your body as a form, as a biological entity, is that the 5 senses, they're not different. Seeing is the same as sound. Sound is the same as touch. They're all the same. So the 5 senses merge to become that one sense. You've got to be very careful you don't say the 6th sense, because the 5 senses, there is a subtle, you know, when this COVID thing came about, it said that you will lose your sense of taste and sense of smell. That was gone years ago. But you don't know, you don't share that, because, you know, 15 years ago you're in your private space with beautiful burning oils and sage and candles, and it's incredibly beautiful. And when you light the candles now and the sage, you don't smell it. You say, I don't know why I'm bothering with this. There's nothing here. Then you can say that's a negative thing in a human way, that you don't taste your food, you don't see the world in different qualities, you don't hear things, music any different, there's no differentiation between any musical record, you know, because that 5 senses become one sense, and that sense is love. You love the food, you love the music, you love the images the world. You love this the touching. You know, you find yourself walking going for a walk, bending around and just touching a blade of grass, and you say, "Wow, I love it." You watch yourself. You don't go around hugging trees and all that because that's not your nature. Your nature is to be touched. Your nature is to be loved. So the food is loving you. It is. It must be. It's keeping you living. It's keeping your body alive. And the nature is loving you. So there's no longer a dualistic sense of I love nature, but it doesn't love me. I love you, but you don't love me. You love me, but I don't love you. There's none of that. It's just love. And there's no special. There's no specialness about you because what you're experiencing is your early childhood, and you have flashbacks to things that you never ever would have remembered with that personal identity mind when you were one, and everything is as if you were that 1-year-old child. But you're fortunate. Your brain still functions on the way of it knows what it's learned. It's been conditioned to it. It's been programmed into. It's not a negative thing to be enlightened. It's not a positive thing to be enlightened, if that's what the word you want to express. It's not a negative thing to have your brain taken away from you and cleaned out and put back in with all the chemicals, all the opiates, the dopamines, all the serotonins, all evenly balanced in compartments. And you're not exempt from illness. You're not exempt from anything, but you're exempt from suffering because the emotions and the thoughts are the suffering. When you are and prefer for one thing, you're imbalancing the truth. The truth is it's all balanced. Everything is balanced out. But you have a mind that wants more of that, but I don't want that. It's okay to project that. It's okay to have a feeling about that. But to live your life through that, you're living on one side, you see. So there's not a spirit and a form side. There's not a afterlife and this life side. They're the same life. It's obviously going to be experienced differently. In this one, you have a body and a name and form, and the next one, I don't know, you see. You are just a space, this consciousness, this emptiness. But that sense, that fifth sense, that becomes that singular sense, which I call zero sense. It's a beautiful zero sense where everything is within the one sense, shaped like a zero. So it's not a negative thing. It's negative to your human existence where you cannot share conversation in a restaurant and they say, "This is beautiful." You have to pretend that you're talking about the food, but you are the talking about the love that the food is available. That kind of gratitude. That's what this love is. This sense is. It's just pure gratitude that you get the opportunity to get up every morning and play with life. But you don't go out and express that because you know there are many people suffering. Oh, life is great today. It's wonderful. I love it. Why are you so sad? Why are you not doing? You try and project it with no sense, with none of the five senses. You try and project it without zero sense, that love. And you can project it through just being, smiling, or just acknowledging, "Hiya, nice day. How are you?" There's no more personal me wanting more than the personal you. There's no more personal I. But it's still there. There are times when you get caught out where there's little test of that voice That's not really a voice, so don't think. There's something inside that touches you and says, "Whoa, whoa, hey, watch you, what are you doing? Be careful, observe." And you realize that all these masters, all these incredible gurus that they call themselves, they say little things like Osho: observe, observe, observe yourself. Observe your mind, observe everything that you do. And realize that the observing is all that's taking place. There's not an observer and that what is observed. There is just the observing, the breathing, the living. And living is all that exists until the body disappears, the mind disappears. And then there's a living in a different way, in a more formless way, in a more pure way. Because that zero sense, that fifth sense, where all the senses are merged into one, is a sense of knowing, a sense of loving. And that knowingness and that lovingness leaves this body and disappears into the knowingness and the lovingness of that what truly is. But you have to be careful you're not promoting enlightenment, awakening. And of course you do. In the past videos, in the past, you may have touched on what it's like to be enlightened, but that's your expression. That's the word that you choose to express what is taking place, but you don't know. And no one can tell you. And that's beautiful. Because you're untouched, you see. No one can get into your mind and into your brain and into your body and try and convince you. And you also reflect and replicate that mirror-like presence. And that's what we are, mirror-like presence. Mirror-like awareness, shining, reflecting and deflecting. And you get the chance to reflect on your life. And you realize that your life was okay. It wasn't ecstatically brilliant. It wasn't horrible, painful and depressing. It was pretty much okay. And that okay is Buddha. That's balance. And that's when you get to pat yourself on the back and say, whatever happened, whatever took place, well done you for getting through it. Well done you for getting through it. And hopefully that's what this God will say when your body passes and your knowingness and your lovingness meets God. And he says, well done you for getting through.